to the Heart's Journey. I'm Monsignor Chiodo from St. Anthony's Church in Des Moines, Iowa. I'd like to share with you a reading from chapter 25 of the Gospel of Matthew. And Jesus will place the sheep on his right and goats on the left. Then the king will say to those on his right, "Come, you are blessed by my Father. Inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry and you gave me food, thirsty and you gave me drink, a stranger and you welcomed me, naked and you clothed me, ill and you cared for me, in prison and you visited me." It's very important for us to reflect upon the two beams of the cross, especially during Lent. There's a lot of symbolism in the cross, and one of the symbols, and one of the important things to remember about the cross is there are two beams. There's the vertical beam and the horizontal beam. The vertical beam reminds us of our relationship directly to the Lord, the importance of cultivating that, and that has to be firmly grounded in rock. And remember, the cross was in rock, so that vertical beam is very critical. That's the first beam, our relationship with God. But the second beam is also part of the cross, and that's a horizontal beam. That reminds us of our horizontal relationships with the people that God sends us into our lives. Both beams of the cross have to be kept in place in order for us to have the cross. And this gospel, Matthew 25, reminds us of what we do to the least of God's brethren, we do to him. As he says in that scripture, "I was naked and you clothed me. I was hungry and you fed me. I was sick and you visited me. What you did to the least, you did to me." And Lent is a time for us to get in touch with that horizontal beam. There's so many needs that people have surrounding us. Remember the story of the rich man and the poor man, Lazarus and the poor man. The rich man was feasting and the poor man was outside, and he simply never noticed the poor man. Pope John Paul II emphasized that in one of his talks about that gospel. It wasn't the sin that the man was rich. The sin was that not only did he not share his food with the poor man who was outside under the front stoop, but he didn't even notice. So the Lord is calling us in Lent to slow down, to open our eyes, to see the people that he sends into our lives, because what we do to them and how we relate to them is how we relate to God. There's so many instances of blessings that come into our lives. I remember Pope Francis talking about engaging the poor. When people cross our paths, don't just throw them a buck and keep on walking, but engage them, look into their eyes, know that it is Christ that you are encountering in this poor person or this needy person that crosses your path. I remember not long ago I was at a mall, and it happened to be in Texas, but that's beside the point. I was walking in the mall with a couple of priest friends, and a man drove by very slowly, and he looked at us, and my eyes caught his, and he stopped, and I said hello. He said hello, and I walked up to the window of the car, wondering, what was going on and so forth, and he said that he was close to running out of gas and needed some help, and there was something in me that said, reach out to him, but talk to him as you would to the Lord. And so instead of just grabbing a couple dollars in my pocket, tossing that money to him and walking away, I decided to ask him, say, "Tell me, do you live here in Texas? What is your name?" I told him my name. He told me his. What's your need? And I looked at him, engaged him in his eyes, and there was something very special about that, seeing that this is a human being with a history, with needs, with joys and sorrows, with fears, anxieties, all the things that every human being suffers, and to know that this is Christ present in the distressful disguise of the poor, as Mother Teresa says. And so at the end of the thing, he looked at me and he said, spontaneously, he said, "Can I offer a prayer for you?" I was stunned that I did not have clerical garb on, and so he had no idea who or what I was, but he said, "Can I pray for you?" I said, "Absolutely." And he offered a beautiful prayer of blessing for me after I had given him a little gift. And I was very touched by that, and I said, "Could I offer a prayer for you?" So we exchanged prayers, and it was a moment of grace. It wasn't a long period of time. It was just a matter of minutes. But those were grace-filled moments as we encountered Christ in one another there in that parking lot in Texas. "Whatsoever you do to the least of your brethren, you do to me." I was hungry and you fed me. I was naked and you clothed me. I was ill and you visited me. Very beautiful challenge that we have in surprising ways. Keep your eyes open, for you do not know the day the Lord will come behind the distressful disguise of the poor. God bless you.